Hey, this is She Said.
No, this is an obvious butch lesbian stereotype.
A space where women talk about stuff.
A show where women sit around and do nothing but talk about their problems. Yeah, there's a bold defiance of established trends.
And I'm your host, Cameron Esposito, a woman.
Well, glad you cleared that up. Your audience was very confused for a moment there. But, okay, sure. You are a woman. And we are only about 10 seconds into this program, and already you've essentially just told us everything we need to know about the value of your opinions and ideas in this program, and given me every reason to not take you seriously. You came out and said, I am Cameron Esposito, and I am a woman. Not, I am Cameron Esposito, and I have done years of research on this subject. Not, I am Cameron Esposito, and I have a PhD in whatever, or a doctorate in a scientific or academic field. Not, I am Cameron Esposito, and I've rationally considered and studied the evidence and investigated how men and women and gender works. Not, I am Cameron Esposito, and I've read dozens of books and literature and studies on the topic. Not, I am Cameron Esposito, and I've spent years gathering evidence. Not even, I am Cameron Esposito, and I once bumped into an educated person in an elevator who sneezed and some of their smart germs got on me. Nope, the only thing she is bringing to the table in this discussion is, I am Cameron Esposito, and I am a woman. Sort of. And before we get into this, I really have to ask, what the fuck is going on with that hair? Did you lose a bet or something? I mean, come on, there's no way you did that on purpose. That hairstyle couldn't have even seemed cool in your head.
As a woman, I know I'm valuable. Dare I say, just as valuable as a man.
Yeah, right. Somehow, if you were on a ship going down and someone screamed, women and children first, you'd be damn sure not as equal as a man quick enough, I'll bet. Because the men are so valuable to society that they get to die so that the women can live. Just as men get to throw themselves at the bear or the crazed gunman to protect their women. I'm sure that you consider yourself just as worthy of being thrown into the meat grinder as a man, right? Or do you consider yourself better and more valuable than a man, more worthy of being protected? Keep that in mind, because we'll come back to this later.
And feminism is the social movement that agrees with me.
You know, there's a term from my days as a young atheist in regards to religion called SPAG, S-P-A-G, which stands for self-projection as God. It essentially describes the rather amazing phenomenon that occurs among the religious, wherein all of the things that their God or their religion is against strangely seem to often coincide with their own personal beliefs and desires that they already held. It essentially works like this. I think X is immoral. My insert religion or God here is the source or arbiter of what is immoral and moral. Therefore, insert religion or God here cannot possibly condone or advocate for that. And of course, any evidence, teachings, or scriptures or actions taken that provide the opposite of the SPAG are dismissed or explained away through reinterpretation. This way, a person can push their own morals and agenda forward, but under the guise of a larger and more powerful entity that gives them greater weight and a puffed-up self-importance. Why do I bring this up, you might ask?
And feminism is the social movement that agrees with me.
No special reason.
Here's my co-host, Rhea Butcher.
Another butch lesbian stereotype. So, which one of you has the penis in the relationship? Or do both of you have it? Do you alternate nights? I'm just curious.
Oh, hey, Rhea. What's up?
Feminism.
Rhea, what's feminism?
Feminism is the belief in the political, social, and economic equality of the sexes.
Uh-huh. And North Korea is the Democratic People's Republic.
Wait a minute, do you mean like feminists believe that men and women are equal?
Yes!
That's accurate.
I hate it when they think they're funny. Why do they always have to think they're funny? And you're both supposedly professional comedians too. You know what this video was like? Seriously. It's like in those comedy movies like Tropic Thunder, where they show fake movie trailers of fake comedy movies that would never exist in real life, and that are supposed to be complete shit and sound like horrible ideas to the people watching them. Yeah, it's like that, except if those shitty fake trailers had another shitty fake trailer for a comedy movie in them. Well, these two extracted that twice embedded unfunny shit and put it on YouTube. Alright, where was I?
Sometimes I feel like feminism gets a bad rap because people think that feminism is about women being better than men. But in reality, feminism is just about equality.
Says the woman who made a show only for women, on a channel that only features women, supports an ideology named after only women, which is the main topic of the previously mentioned show, that is itself titled after women. Oh yeah, it can practically deep throat the equality.
Look at all these equal signs, equal signs, equal signs, equal signs. Men, women equal, men, women equal, men, women equal.
Okay, allow me to explain the difference between a descriptive definition and a prescriptive definition. A prescriptive definition, which is the one that you're giving here, is the definition of what something should be, what it would say in the dictionary. A descriptive definition is the definition of what something actually is in reality. And this is where you jump off the board and dive headfirst into being horrible lying cunts. You see, you use the prescriptive definition of feminism, equality between the sexes, but you try to portray it as the descriptive definition of feminism. That is what feminism is actually doing and is made of. That it's only about that. It isn't. It's an ideology. It's a series of beliefs and dogmatic adages with tons of extras and structures attached, and nothing is fully agreed upon, including, and most importantly, what you mean by equality. But you never actually tell people what you really mean when you say equality, at least not up front. You wait until you drill the whole women have always been oppressed narrative into their heads, and sufficiently manipulate their thoughts into making them more agreeable. But see, if you think that society is built upon always keeping women subjugated, then you should probably tell people that up front as well, because things like that are also a part of the definition of feminism. So, to answer your implied question there, maybe feminism gets a bad rap because scumsuckers like you continually lie about it. Just tossing that out there.
That's feminism. Rhea, are you a feminist?
Yes, I am a feminist.
Two well-off white lesbians who clearly suffer from penis envy, sitting around bitching about how society doesn't like women, while disallowing and dismissing any alternate facts or opinions? And you say that you're feminists? Pfft, never would have seen that.
I'm a feminist too.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
How far are we in this? Fuck! You know the truly sad and horrifying thing about feminism? I mean, the thing that makes me shiver right down to my very soul, if I had one, with true bone-numbing horror, that this is actually the best that they can do. I mean, seriously, you look at this. This had an actual budget. They actually got two people that are supposedly good comedians, supposedly, to come and do this. This is not some newly, pubescent teeny bopper squatting in her room, looking at a webcam and saying stupid shit. This is done by professionals, on at least a semi-decent production budget. And you know what? The teeny boppers tend to be fucking smarter. And funnier. Seriously, I have seen videos on YouTube with young girls in their bedrooms that have a greater intellectual content than anything that will be in these videos. Even by feminist standards, this video is pants-on-head retarded. With all the millions upon millions of money, hours, and human work energy put into feminism, in every way that matters, this is the best they can do. Even at their best, they have the competency and intelligence of lobotomized gophers drunk on elderberry wine. That's why I'm spending so little time doing anything but making smart-ass comments. There's nothing worth actually bringing out any big counter-arguments for. There's no need to draw on any research or deeper knowledge. I've already crammed more intellectual content into what I've said so far than these two jackasses will in both this video and their next one. And I've been fucking lazy about it. I really may as well just stop right now, but I already watched the video and lost the brain cells, so I might as well continue in loving memory of the parts of my brain that died so the rest could fight on heroically. Okay, now that that's off my chest, now we get to go back and proceed to be lectured on the true nature of women and gender by girl, boy, and boy, girl here. Fuck.
Why are you a feminist?
I mean, feminism is important to me personally because I was raised by a single mother and I saw her work really hard at a job and take care of a whole family by herself.
What did you get from that that has to do with feminism?
Well, I know that now there's like a huge wage gap.
You're not.
Which is the percentage of money that men earn versus what women earn.
So
you're really not.
Like, what does a woman earn to do the same job as a man?
Typically, women make about 71% of what men make. But if you factor in race, the gap is even bigger. White women on average make 78% of what a white man makes, and a Latina woman on average makes 54% of what a white man makes.
And an Asian man kicks all of their asses, just as a single woman who doesn't marry will make more than a single man who doesn't marry, but you'll leave those particular types of facts out.
It is clear from these figures, as indeed I think it's clear to most of us from what we see, that there is a discrimination against blacks and against women in our present system. Since not all blacks will be superior, how would you try to even that out so that there would be some equality of job opportunities?
Yeah, I'm sorry you missed the earlier part of the program when I pointed out that where you find people not represented evenly, that does not show the institutional effect, because almost nowhere in human affairs do you find people evenly represented.
Well,
if you compare comparable people with respect to age, with respect to education, etc., you get a totally different picture, both with respect to blacks and women. Now, the figures that I saw, for example, show more recently that if you take black families where the husband and wife are both college educated and compare them to a white family where the husband and wife are both college educated, the black family is now earning $2,000 a year more. The problem is that very few blacks fall in that category. That when you compare category for category, then we're talking about getting people a decent education. I'm saying that you cannot say that numbers collected at the employer's place of business reflect simply the employer's policies. Those numbers reflect underlying conditions in the whole society, just as numbers collected at a hospital do not show you that the people are sick because they're in the hospital.
No, I would agree with that, but you would also have to agree that, generally speaking, women are paid less, for example, for the same jobs as men.
No, I would not. I would not agree with that. If you're talking about women with the same number of years of experience, with the same continuous service, etc., then when I look at that, I don't find that disparity. I find, for example, in many cases, the women are making more, depending upon how you break the data down. The difference with women is between married women and everybody else. That's the real difference.
Well, even as to single women, the Census Bureau statistics, the most recent ones I could find, 1978, say that single men are earning $11,100 and single women are earning $9,300.
Yes, I love the word single that is used. When I did my study, I didn't use single, I used never married. You see, a woman who is single at age 40, having spent 10 or 20 years raising children, is really not quite the same as a man of age 40 who's been working continuously for 20 years.
And the differential she cited is not that great, so it could easily be accounted for by the
Yes, because when I break them down the other way, I did this for the academic world, and there I found the women who are never married, which is the term the way I take it. There they were earning more than the men. And similarly, when the government did data some years ago on women who had been working continuously since high school into their 30s, there you found that they were making slightly more than men of the same description. So the difference is between married women and everybody else. And married men get an extra bonus because their wives take care of many things that enable them to put more time into their careers.
I think I just figured out another reason why people don't like feminism. Your propensity to sit in front of a screen and tell obvious blatant falsehoods to everyone's face. Maybe that has to do with it. The fact you will sit there and try to tell women something that is not only untrue, but cannot possibly be true if you just put a little bit of intelligent thought into it. All to convince women that society is against them because of their gender. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's because you're all horrible, lying, dishonest cunts.
It's almost
What are you, 5?
like things are stacked against women, and we need like an overarching word that could help us to be treated equally.
Statistical disparity is not the same as discrimination. But, okay, you want to play that game? Women are only 20% of homicide victims in the US, making men 4 times more likely to die of violence than women. Men are almost twice as likely to die from AIDS. Men are at least twice as likely to be injured on the job. So obviously, society is stacked against men, and men need an overarching word that could help them to be treated equally. Congratulations, dumbass, you just helped me justify meninism.
Wait a minute, I think I'm describing feminism.
Again, I sat through about half an hour of her comedy just so I could have a reference for dealing with her. Pray for me, my friends. Pray for me. Do you actually think that just making a word is going to do anything? But, and here's the rub, this word that you're talking about is feminism. The word that you claim means equality. Now, listen to the next set of sentences out of your mouth for a moment, girl boy. Just sit and listen to them for a second.
But are there any other ways in which women are, like, not equal to men right now in our world?
Are there any ways that women are not equal to men? Note how you never asked, are there any ways in which men are not equal to women? Do you see the contradiction here? You say that you believe in equality, but you only focus on women. And if you only focus on equality for one gender, how is that any different than supremacy? Do you have an answer to that, girl boy?
Yeah, Cameron, did you know that only 20% of Congress is women?
Hey, did you know that 99% of coal miners are men? Did you know that 90% of sanitation workers are men? See, I can make observations out of context in a way that makes it seem like it's something harmfully discriminatory too. Can I ask you, boy-girl, what law is preventing women from being in Congress? None? Oh, okay then. Then are you looking to go into politics and become a member of Congress yourself to get more women in there? No. Huh. Are there any feminists that you know of looking to get into Congress to fix that quote-unquote problem? No? Oh. Then you should probably just shut the fuck up about it. Again, this is why feminism is such a dirty word. Because you don't want to do it yourselves, you just want to tell other women to do it. And when they don't do what you yourself don't want to do, you blame men for it. Or rather, you blame society. And by society, you mean men.
So as women, we live in a society that is mostly created by men?
Yes.
You're welcome.
So it's almost like, even if you don't realize that you're being affected by this, it affects everyone. Like, for instance, if you're a woman and you're a young woman, you don't have a job yet, maybe someday this will affect you the way that you're paid. Or like if you're a dude and you have a mom or a sister, or you just live in the world and would like women to be treated equally, it's almost like you should care about this.
People do care. That's why they oppose you. But because you're a bigot and not very smart, you think that everyone would naturally agree with you. Let me ask you something, girl boy and boy girl. Did it ever occur to you that maybe the problem is that people do care about equality, and they just disagree with your assessment of what is equal and what isn't? That maybe it's not everyone else, and you're just idiots who don't understand the subject you're talking about. Maybe they care because you're hurting people. And that maybe the blowback you get is everyone else in the world telling you to stop being wrong. Did that ever occur to you? No? Okay. Let's move on.
So we've been working at this for a long time, and we still have some work to do.
That's right, women have struggled long and hard for nearly 150 years to be treated equal. They're still struggling hard. Fuck, are they useless? I mean, I'm just saying, if you put a couple guys in charge, it would have been done in like a decade tops. So, okay, here's a question. If men really did build society as you suggest, where were the women in all of this? Do you think that men just kept them subjugated and in shackles all that time, so that they couldn't do anything? Because that's unlikely. So why did the women not build society and the men did? Could it possibly be because women didn't have to build society, because the men who loved them did it for them? Or do you really think that society and conditioning just kept women out of the loop and brainwashed them to staying in the kitchen? Because I have to say, if you think that's true, then you don't have a very rosy view of women's competence, do you? Hey, I think I may have just found another reason that feminism gets a bad rap. Because you assume that all women are useless decorations who can't do anything without a man. Or rather, that they couldn't do anything without a man until you came along to free them.
Late night television. There are currently no female late night hosts. I think.
How many prominent male feminists are there? Again, I can play this game too. Okay, look, girl boy, just because I'm getting tired of making fun of you and I would like to bring at least some degree of intelligence to your video, I'm actually going to be serious for a moment and explain this, knowing full well, even as I do, that should you ever watch this, it will all go straight over that floppy, dead little seagull-looking piece of shit thing you have on your head. See, girl boy, there's a difference between making an observation of the natural world and having evidence for a conclusion. As I said, statistical disparity does not necessarily equal discrimination, etc., etc. See, for instance, I note that you will say later in your next video that you have mostly male friends, about 85% according to you. Now, if I were to look at that percentage, I could come to the conclusion that this reason is because you hate women. Or, as I've used to make fun of you a few times already, I could conclude that because you hang out with men, that you secretly want to be a man. Now, the fact that you have mostly male friends is entirely logically consistent with those conclusions of mine, but they do not prove those conclusions to be true, for the simple fact that there are many other possible reasons for why those observations may exist. In order for those observations to be evidence for my conclusions, I would have to show that my conclusions are the only possible, or at least the only likely explanation for the observation. Otherwise, I only think that you hate women, or are a man, because I have presupposed the conclusion, and I am trying to fit my observations into that little hole into which I want it to go. This is the mountainous fallacy upon which almost every feminist idea rests upon. You look at the world, and anything that could possibly be an instance of sexism or oppression of women immediately becomes that, and only that. There is no possibility in your world. There is no possibility in your world, and there is no room for discussion or second thoughts. It can only be oppression. Do you understand how mentally damaged feminism has made you, girl boy and boy girl? It has damaged your minds so much that all you can see everywhere is a world that hates you and is out to get you. And you want to do this to others as well. You're both tragic victims and horrible monsters at once. But do go on.
We have things to say and space in this world, and that's what this show is for. But I think there could be more shows like this. Plus, this show's only like 5 minutes long. Very short.
How many more fucking shows like that do you need? Do you just not watch television? Whiny, unfunny women who sit around and talk about being women is not exactly a vast, untapped market in the TV world. Here's some interesting food for thought, though. Have you ever noticed that on those quote-unquote men's shows where men get together to talk, men actually spend their time talking about other things besides their gender? Men talk about sports, politics, religion, philosophy, the economy, etc. They talk about everything except their manhood, almost as though they don't spend all of their time gazing into their own genitals, as though they are aware that there is a world beyond their pee-pee parts. 'Cause, you know, that might have something to do with the late-night host thing, too.
I'm a feminist because I'm a stand-up comic. I work in a male-dominated field. And although I feel so much support and love for my fellow comics, I also know that sometimes I'm put in positions that they're not put in.
How does that even make sense? You're a feminist because you're a comic, and even though you say that all the men treat you well, you're put in different positions. Okay, look, if the men treat you equally, how are you put in different positions than them? It must then either be the fault of yourself that you are in these positions, or it must be the women in your industry putting you there. But either way, why are you bitching about the men? Do you people ever actually fucking listen to yourselves? We are 75% of the way through this, and you have said nothing of consequence. Nothing. I can feel myself fucking aging listening to you.
So I believe that I am equal to my peers, and I also know that most of my male peers believe they are equal to me. Like, I know they respect me.
Let me guess, the next thing you're gonna say is, my mom thinks I'm cool. Do you realize how desperate for validation you sound? How much you're trying to convince yourself? I mean, just listen to yourself.
I know that most of my male peers believe they are equal to me. Like, I know they respect me.
This was an obvious trait that I noticed in your stand-up routine as well. This apparent need to have others validate you. Your entire routines were basically you stand there going, look at me, I'm a lesbian. That means I fuck chicks because I'm a lesbian. Did you know I'm a lesbian? That means I like women. Look how butch I am. Praise me for being a lesbian and a comic. You even acknowledge in your act yourself that you're a complete butch stereotype. That was the main thrust of a lot of your jokes. Wow, could I be more of a stereotype? 'Cause, you know, I'm obviously a butch les, right?
I love it, and it's been a huge year in my life. Not only did I move, I also just recently got engaged. Yeah. Thank you so much. Happened last month, I got engaged, and as you can tell by my haircut, General Danny Zuko attitude, I'm going to be marrying a woman. Yeah, so I'm your hero. I am your hero. I'm doing it for all of us. I can't tell you, you know, I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago. I can't even tell you how exciting it is for me that I'm going to be able to be marrying a woman. I can't tell you how excited I am about that, but I also can't tell you how shocking it is to me that that's the person that I am. Like, I grew up in the suburbs. It was as difficult for me to realize that I was a woman who wanted to date women as I honestly think it would have been for me to realize I was a leprechaun. Like, gays, leprechauns, I thought they were mythical creatures for parades.
I got the jeans, I got the leather jacket, I got the kind of masculine haircut.
But it is athletic. And I want you to know I came out like this. Just ready for rugby right away. You know, throw a girl off my shoulder, I'll run the ball in. Like, how many days a week do you guys think a suburban girl should wear a coonskin cap? Because if you said 0, I went with 7.
And I was far from the only one. And it was far from the only one who noticed this. The entire comment section of the videos I watched were basically composed of half people pointing out how unfunny you were because of your constant begging for attention, self-validation, and, you know, the still lesbian jokes, and the other half were people calling the first group homophobes for not finding you funny. See, if you're gonna be a stereotype and try to be funny, you need to parody it. Comedians like Russell Peters are hilarious with stereotypes because they revel in the ridiculousness of them. They exaggerate them. Just pointing out that you're a stereotype and going, isn't that wacky, isn't funny, it's lazy.
Is this line for heterosexuals only? No. Good, because I'm gay.
All right. Yeah, no.
Is this line all gay?
No, it isn't.
What a shame. If we were both gay, we could be going at it right here.
Miss, can I get my food, please? Can I get my food?
consenting adults with their groins on fire. Nothing wrong with that. No, sirree!
What can I do for you, sir?
Well, sexually, nothing. You see, you're a woman, and I, being gay, am attracted only to men.
Are you gonna order something?
Oh, I get it. The fruitcake is holding up the line.
And so it's just an institutional thing. It's something we need to talk about. We need to talk about how women are being treated.
10 seconds. You couldn't go 10 seconds without completely contradicting yourself. You just said that everyone in your little friendship circle respects and treats you like an equal. Now you're saying that it is institutionalized oppression. Who is doing the suppressing? Who's doing the suppressing then? You realize an institution is just a group of people, right? It's not an eldritch abomination that exists astride the dimensional boundaries and acts upon our world unseen. It takes people to do these things. If an institution held as its principles that all gays should be killed, but everyone who belonged to the institution loved gays and had no problem with them, then that institution could not kill or oppress gays. Do you see the problem here? Things that are meta-constructs cannot act of their own volition. So if everyone in your circle of employment is on your side, and there are no laws or rules against you, how can there be institutionalized sexism against you? The problem must not be sexism, and must indeed be something else besides sexism. Like maybe it's you. You're essentially just trying to blame men without actually trying to make it sound like you're blaming men.
When we walk down the street at night, we should feel safe. When we go into work in the morning, we should feel respected. We should be somebody's boss if we work hard enough and have the skills to be the boss.
Why? Serious question. Why? Why should you have this done for you? Why should you feel safe? Why should you feel respected? Those two don't even go together coherently. Again, this is one of the flaws in the thinking of feminists. You make these demands based on the assumption in your feminist mind that men feel safe and are respected automatically. This is completely untrue, which you two would know if you spent the same amount of time trying to understand and listen to men as you spend trying to look like them. Men don't feel safe either. In fact, we recognize that we are statistically far more likely to be victims than any woman anywhere. Take you, for example. You are a Western white woman. You are pretty much the one demographic of human being on this planet that is the least likely to have anything bad happen to you. So the extent to which you feel unsafe is only to the extent that you are an irrational coward. Now, men are actually unsafe compared to you. The difference is that men are taught to not be whiny bitches about it. In fact, that is the fastest way to lose respect as a man, is to be a whiny bitch who whines about how scared and unsafe he is. Do you see the contradiction here? You are asking to be protected and whining about feeling unsafe, while at the same time asking to be respected as equal to a man. To reiterate this because it's important, and I know it's going to go over your head, you want to be respected as a man, while acting in a way that would cause a man to be actively disrespected, if he behaved in that way. Then, wondering why, oh why, do men not respect me? Well, I'll give you a hint, girl boy. The kind of respect that you would be receiving if you were a man would be none. The respect that you have now is the respect that you get simply by virtue of being a woman. The reason that it looks like men get more respect for being a man is because men earn their respect by stepping up and contributing to society, by sacrificing and toiling, and you only look at the men who have the most respect, while ignoring all of the losers who have no respect at all, despite that they're in the grinder as well. This is what I was alluding to at the beginning of this. You want to be treated like a man's equal, but you don't want to step into the meat grinder along with all of the other men and get chewed up. Despite your male affectations and attempts to butch it up, instead of hopping in with the real men, you're perfectly content to sit off to the side with the rest of the women and turn the handle. When it comes right down to it, you're nothing but another pretender who can't wait to lie down and take it like a damsel. So, which do you want? Do you want to be the precious princess who needs to be protected? Or do you want to be the man who wades through the muck and harshness of the world and toughens it out, but is given praise and high regard? And here's the thing, by the way. I don't mind if you want to be the damsel. I really don't care. I don't mind if you want women to play the role of the helpless woman who needs to entice men to do stuff for them, or if you want to be the tough, independent, you-go girl that can take care of herself. Either is perfectly fine with me. It's your life and your choice. But you can't be both. Pick one and then deal with the consequences.
And those are the things I believe, and those things make me a feminist.
Not only are women equal to men, but men are also equal to women.
We absolutely believe that.
Here's the thing. Maybe you aren't equal to them. Not because you're a woman, but because of who you are as a person. For instance, I can name a lot of women that I have quite a bit of respect for. Some a great deal of respect. But I would never hold someone like you in even the slightest level of respect. Not because you're a woman, not even because you're a lying, duplicitous, stupid, brainwashed, ignorant sack of flesh, though that certainly doesn't help, but because you take it as an article of faith that you should be respected out of hand. And as far as I'm concerned, no one who thinks that they deserve automatic respect is worthy of respect of any kind. Full stop. One of the bits of your comedy that I watched was your debut on late night TV with Craig Ferguson, who also had Jay Leno as a guest. And at the end, Leno, I'll just watch.
I feel like I had other punchlines, but this is better.
You'll be on TV a lot. I mean, I'm going to get fired. He's already fired. Yeah. You know, it's...
You're the future. You're the future.
You're the future, kid.
White men are on their way
They're
out.
on their toes.
True.
Yeah.
Lesbians rule.
Yeah. Jay Leno, Governor Esposito. We'll see you later, everybody.
The fact that for you, lesbian, feminist, and a woman is your sole identity. So maybe that's why you're getting all of these good jobs, like the talk shows, because you have the perfect identity that the media wants to trot out like a prize stallion. You yourself even started this video off with, "I'm a woman." So are you sure they respect you? Are you sure that they think that you're funny? Or are they propping you up because you're the right type of person for them? And how would you know if it is the former or the latter of the two? For all you know, old Jay was sitting there slapping his flippers together like a trained circus seal for his feminist ringmasters, knowing exactly which hoops to jump through so he can get a taste of something fishy. I wonder if that has any influence on your obviously desperate need to be validated by others. Just a thought on my part. It might be true or might be not. But maybe that's why you don't get the respect you think you deserve, because others do not find you deserving. And how are you going to know this if you always go around assuming that you should just be respected? This is a recipe for never ever improving yourself or fixing your flaws. You're insulating yourself from criticism by assuming that any time you are not treated with respect, it is due to an entirely outside force and not your own character. It is crippling. Again, I've said this before. This is the nature of your ideology. It makes you sick and then commands society to make you well.
And now, how about a final word?
Oh, thank my Lord Satan.
The great thing about feminism is that anyone can be a feminist. Any race, any age, any sex or gender. And that includes you.
I would, in all seriousness, sooner side with the Ku Klux Klan.
Hey, thanks for watching She Said. You can follow me on Twitter at Cameron Esposito.
And I'm at Rhea Butcher. Tweet at us. We'd love to hear from you.
We really would.
To watch more, click here.
And to subscribe, click here. Hey, that's a smart girl's Twitter handle. What are the odds?
That's it? It's over? You're done? Really? Oh, thank Lord Azatoth. It's over. I did it. I made it through the whole thing. I am fucking invincible. Well, there you have it, bitches. I made it through one of the worst feminist pieces of shit ever shat out the anus of feminism. I made it through all 4 minutes, and it didn't break me. Bring on the next one.
I think the combo meal would satisfy a homosexual's taste buds, and I am a homosexual, so I'll have that.
What combo meal for the homosexual? homosexual man?
This is great. Attention, please. Attention. I am gay. Repeat. I am very gay. Just go about your business normally, as heterosexuals.
Okay, sir, that'll be $5.67, please.
Wow. It's a good thing gay men work. Thank you on behalf of all homosexuals. Do you mind if I sit here? I'm gay, you know.
Yeah, sure, whatever, man.
You're probably wondering what it's like to be gay.
Nah.
Well, I'll tell you. It's not so bad. The hours are good. That's a gay man's joke. But seriously, it's fan-double-tastic being gay. Would you like to hear me sing? I love children's. You know why?
Oh, let me guess, you're gay?
That's right. I'm as gay can be. I'm a limp-wristed fruitcake. I'm a stubble rubber. Look at me, I'm floating. Let's do the homosexual blindfold test. All right. Hey! I prefer this one.
Hey, pal.
Oh!
That was the vibrating palm.
There's a gay man down near table 2. A gay man down near table 2.
Hey! Wait a second. That's odd. My manhood is completely engorged. Perhaps I should rethink this whole homosexual thing. By the way, what's your name?
Bert. And I'm really a man.
No wonder! You see, I'm gay, and gay men have terrific intuition. Hey, let's go have a drink. I know a bar called the Pile Driver you might be interested in. Shall we go? Excuse me, everyone. Gay people coming through!